We also have our first look at the video on the attack of Paul Pelosi, husband of former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Look at this. Now, remember I told you that there were going to be things other than the police body cam that would be released. This is the surveillance video outside the home, and that is the suspect, DePape. And you see him, he put some items down, you see him breaking some glass, and the fragments of glass that are breaking now. Emily, talk to me about this as evidence in the case.
Well, so keep in mind that this suspect is facing federal charges and state at the same time, right? In December, he was indicted. Penalty.
Yes, welcome back. I believe you have seen the video. The recently released Paul Pelosi's footage. You all know it has been extremely difficult for us to see this video. Watching this clip, I realized he was putting on a short trouser. At the same time, it's like he was the one that opened the door. The question surfacing on social media, was he sleeping at this time? I have seen a lot of people questioning why he was putting on a short trouser, but I concluded sometimes you can be in your home, you can dress anyhow. You don't know what can happen at any point in time. Yes, just a few hours ago we realized.
Well, listen, Tony, you've laid it out perfectly, which is that when people send, when the voters send members of Congress to Washington, they expect them to do the people's business, not to be day trading on the stock market, not to be using the information that they get from briefings to go and make a quick buck on Wall Street. So here's what my bill does. It says no more trading of stocks by members of Congress. In fact, no more ownership of stocks by members of Congress. If you want to save, fine, put it in a mutual fund like most Americans do. But Nancy Pelosi is the perfect example of what should not be happening in D.C., which is people getting rich on the stock market off of information they know because they're a member of Congress.
Paul and Pelosi dumped about 35,000 shares of Google just a month after Joe administration decided to sue Google. I did a full analysis on this video. Just take a look at this.
Alrighty, let's get this straight. Paul Pelosi gets out of jail from his DUI just in time to buy 20,000 shares of stock in a computer chip company. And now Fancy Nancy is bringing a $52 billion subsidy bill for these chip companies to the House floor. Shady, shady, shady. A few weeks ago, Nancy Pelosi sold off millions in Google stock. And then yesterday, the DOJ sues Google. Coincidence? I don't think so. The Pelosi's are totally corrupt, but not a single major outlet has written about this transaction. America fired Pelosi as Speaker, but she's still using her congressional seat to get rich. Shame on her.
Over the course of your career, has your husband ever made a stock purchase or sale based on information he's received from you?
What are you saying?
Over the course of your career, has your husband ever made a stock purchase or sale based on information he received from you?
No, absolutely not. Okay, thank you.
It is extremely bad to be a lawmaker and you are doing insider trading. The Justice Department sued Google. A month before this, Paul Pelosi dumped about 30,000 shares. This is to tell you something is happening. So on this clip, we are going to take an exclusive look into what is going on exactly. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please endeavor to do that. And if possible, why not share this clip?
And you're a senator, and I give you IPO shares in stock. And over the course of one day, that stock nets you $100,000. That's completely legal.
And former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and her husband had participated in at least 8 IPOs. One of those came in 2008 from Visa, just as a troublesome piece of legislation that would have hurt credit card companies began making its way through the House. Undisturbed by a potential conflict of interest, the Pelosi's purchased 5,000 shares of Visa at the initial price of $44. 2 days later, it was trading at $64. The credit card legislation never made it to the floor of the House. Congresswoman Pelosi also declined our request for an interview, but agreed to call on us if we attended a news conference.
Madam Leader, I wanted to ask you why you and your husband, back in March of 2008,
accepted and participated in a very large IPO deal from Visa. At a time there was major legislation affecting the credit card companies making its way through the House. And did you consider that to be a conflict of interest?
I don't know what your point is of your question. Is there some point that you want to make with that?
Well, I guess what I'm asking is, do you think it's all right for a speaker to accept a very preferential and favorable stock deal?
Well, we didn't.
You participated in the IPO.
Well, I have many
and at the time you were Speaker of the House. You don't think it was a conflict of interest or had the appearance of a conflict of interest?
It only has the appearance if you decide that you're going to have elaborate on a false premise. But it's not true, and that's that.
I don't understand what part's not true.
Yes, I don't see this to be a coincidence. 1 month before this decision, Paul Pelosi decided to dump about 30,000 share stocks of Google. Now we are getting story Google has been sued for antitrust.
Nancy Pelosi reportedly, with her husband, sold $3 million actually worth of the stock just 4 weeks ago. So the next one we can put up there on the screen, it actually shows you the exact trades that were disclosed in the periodic transaction report. You could see it right there. Several trades, all that just hit in the last weeks of December. And what do we see? We see trades between $500,000 to $1 million, all of Class A stock that were being made. And the real question is why? I mean, in many respects, like we're talking here about people who literally run the government in the know, representative here even from San Francisco. Let's even, Crystal, put aside the lawsuit. You represent a lot of people from Google. You should not be trading Google, period.
That is it. You represent a lot of people trading with Google at the same time you're doing the same. It is extremely wrong to do this. She knew that something like this was coming up. She decided that they should sell everything. Lawmakers have information the public don't know. So when they are doing insider trading, they easily succeed. While you as an outsider, you'll be struggling there while they keep making millions. Like we have seen recently, the amount of money Paul Pelosi is making. This is to tell you how some of these lawmakers operate. I just pray this bill should be passed so that these lawmakers should be held accountable for doing insider trading. Going down on this article, Paul Pelosi, the multimillionaire husband of former House Speaker and current Representative Nancy Pelosi, sold 30,000 shares of Google stock a month prior to the Department of Justice announcement of antitrust lawsuit against the tech giant, according to a financial disclosure filed with the House of Representatives. Pelosi reported the sales of Google stock in 3 different transactions between December 20 and December 28, each of which involved the sales of 10,000 shares of stock in Google parent corporation Alphabet. The periodic transaction report file with the House note each transaction involved an amount between 500,000 and 1 million and yielded a capital gains of more than 200. Although it's unclear how large the profit was, taken together, the trade involved 30,000 shares and between 1.5 million and 3 million of assets. The DOJ and 8 states announced a lawsuit against Google on Tuesday, alleging that the company engaged in anti-competitive behavior and exercised a monopoly over internet search traffic. Google anti-competitive behavior has raised barriers to entry to artificial high levels, forced key competitors to abandon the market for ad tech tools, discouraged potential competitors from joining the market, and left Google few remaining competitors marginalized and unfairly disadvantaged, the DOJ and the state allege.